What's good, Internet? It's your boy Corey from the Hardwood, Herald, and we are back with another episode of Nothing But Netflix on the Underdog Podcast Network. We have a very special guest today. It is one John Sabine. You may have seen him on Bulls Outsiders. He is a Luka Doncic stan, which I want to say that you know that I do draft work. I have been very historically accurate on my Luka assessment. And also, I know that you love Stone Cold Steve Austin. We're kindred spirits.
Oh my God, absolutely. This is already the best introduction I've ever had. You've just got like my dream journal out right now. I'm thrilled to be here. I do love Stone Cold. I think he's one of the greatest living live performers next to Beyonce. And I love Luka Doncic. He's my son. And I'm thrilled to be on this podcast. It is a privilege and an honor, my friend. So thank you for having me, truly.
Appreciate it. It's going to be fun. With the draft work that I do, I'm putting together a ranking, the big board and all that you're supposed to.
Can you tell me your big, because I'm terrible at draft stuff.
Okay.
And so I need any help I can get because I don't know how to do it.
So, all right. So I'm going to say, let people in on a little secret. Like for the people that watch this, listen to this, I'm doing either something that's like insanely stupid or is going to be insanely cool. I have decided
cool.
Since print is dead, that I am going to actually put out a draft magazine to release my big board in print.
Yes. All right. I will not. That's good. I will read that because I don't know anything about the draft every year. When Luka got drafted, my friend called me before the draft and goes, "Who do you want?" I was like, "I want that Luka guy, but we have the 5th pick. We're not going to get him."
Right.
And I was like, "I don't know anybody else. I don't watch college that much. Like people will send me clips, but I can't tell. Like I can't tell. Like I don't know how people like Anthony Bennett went 1. No one knows anything. Like Tyler Hero went 14. Bam Adebayo went. No one knows. Like
it was crazy, man. The draft is crazy. And now with like Twitter and like all the people who think they're like draft experts and whatever, it's like everybody thinks that they know, they have sources, and who knows what's what. It's crazy. But I'm putting out a magazine. That's how I'm releasing my big board.
I love it.
I'm having a bunch of people write for it. It's either going to be awesome or no one's going to read it. So
no, it'll be awesome. You'll have one because I will be like, I don't. Who should the Bulls go up 4th? I don't know.
But I am going to tie this back around. I was, doing my research, and Tyrese Halliburton, who I have around like the end of the lottery or whatnot. I was like, let's see, if he's like working out, maybe he fixed his handle a little bit. And I just saw that he has this massive old WWF t-shirt collection. And I was like,
yes,
fuck it. He's number 1 on my board now. And he responded. He was like, I'm bringing out, don't worry, I got more heat coming.
Are you kidding?
Yeah. So
after this, will you DM it to me? Because Halliburton was like, I listened to like a podcast and I was like, I know that sounds like that Dick Cheney thing. Sure. But people were saying like his coaches really like him and stuff. And so I was like, he seems like a guy that will go too high because people will be afraid to be like, he'll play for 15 years, Right.
Yeah, for sure. He's literally the guy that I'm like, all right, I know he's going to be better than this guy. But
yes.
I know he is, but it's like this guy's got more potential, I guess, because he could jump higher. I don't know, but I know he's going to be better than. So it's hard. He's hard to like.
I can't believe he replied, and he likes the square circle. I'm in.
And it's not even WWE shirts; it's WWF. So that's how you know he's real.
Yes,
that's how he's real.
I mean, he's probably barely born before they made the switch.
Seriously, legitimately, I don't even know if he'd be alive during the Attitude Era.
No.
But now with the WWE Network, it's like you can just go, binge it all. It's great.
It's fantastic. And I always have to remember basketball players aren't older than me just because they look bigger and more manly. I always assume they're older than me. And I'm like, I'm 15 years older than you.
I know. It's so weird.
I'm an idiot.
I'm the same way. And I'm like, is it weird that I'm like a mid-30s year old man who's like writing things about this teenager?
No. No. If it was like AAU, maybe, but no. I'm always like, why did I call him sir? Like,
let me ask you a question. You met Luka.
I didn't meet Luka.
You didn't meet Luka? You saw him?
I met him.
You met him? Yes.
I met him.
Yeah.
I bamboozled him actually. In the locker room of the United Center, a week before everything shut down. We did it on a Monday. On Friday, they pulled all the press passes. So there was one other game in between.
Okay.
And so we really hit, and I had a sign that just said, Luca, please wave at me in Slovenian. But then a Slovenian person said, it said, Luca, please fight me, which I don't know what it said. I just Alta Visted it. I don't know. Spoiler alert, I can't speak Slovenian. And he looked terrified, but I got a picture with him, and I did not touch him because I didn't I was like paranoid about COVID like in January.
Right.
I say that only because to show my neuroses. And so I got to meet him, and it was the greatest. It was a Make-A-Wish. It was the greatest thing in the world. It was fantastic.
I love it. That's the content that we like to see on the internet.
Oh, and he waved. I just wanted to wave. He didn't have to do anything. Didn't say my name. He waved, and we got a picture. And it was shout out to Matt Peck and Big Dave, who were like, they're very good at getting pictures, and I'm always too scared to talk. And they're like, can we get a picture? And I'm like, so shout out to them.
You know, I haven't crossed paths with Matt yet, but one of the first guest podcast appearances I did this year was with Big Dave.
Oh my gosh. Don't you wish he was nicer? I mean, have you met anyone who's just like sunlight personified?
Yeah, man.
He's amazing. And Matt's great too. Matt is, I mean, he's a diabolical genius. He's the best.
I love it. I love it. All right. So getting into the actual,
this is important.
The actual basketball movie / TV show / purpose of this podcast. Mm-hmm. We're switching it up. Last week we did our first documentary, which strayed from the path of movie a little bit. Mm-hmm. Now we're doing our first episode of television. Mm-hmm. Okay. And this is one of the more important episodes of television, probably in the history of television. And we're talking about Family Matters, season 5, episode 7, Grandmama. It doesn't get any better than this.
It is. Family Matters is unbelievably good. It is bulletproof. For 10 years, it was bulletproof. Steve, every episode was a banger.
Every episode was a banger. And
truly,
I mean, what's great about it is even though this isn't necessarily, this is more of like a Charlotte Hornets type episode, but the show takes place in Chicago. So we're able to really just fit this in. I mean, we're going to talk about the Bulls intertwined in the episode.
The Bulls are that's what makes Eddie.
It's the whole purpose of it. It's
the forbidden fruit.
We're gonna dive into it.
Oh
but first, I want to talk about like Urkel mania.
Yes.
Like Family Matters at its peak. I mean, like I had the Steve Urkel doll that do you know what I'm talking about?
I have the Urkel game. I know exactly what you're talking about.
You know, like unbelievable how big Urkel was in the 90s. And partly I think where I was in my life on a Friday night, all I wanted to do was watch TGIF on ABC.
It was fantastic. And the lineup. So do you remember what the order of the shows?
So I don't know if I necessarily remember the specific order, but I remember like some of the other shows that were on there.
I think it went Full House, Family Matters, Step by Step.
Yes.
Hang with Mr. Cooper in its like heyday.
Yeah.
That was like the chunk of its that was its peak years. That was the lineup. My wife and I's wedding party entered the reception to the Family Matters theme song.
Fuck yeah.
We just it's a song that everyone knows, but you don't know why you know it. Like, and we just wanted to be like, what is that song? Like, what is that? It is set in Chicago, and I don't think people realize that Steve Urkel is like kind of like it's the same as Borat. Like, we make fun of it in a meta way now, like in an ironic way, but he was legitimately a fantastic character in a star, like
big time.
A television star. And watching Jaleel White, watching this episode, you're just like, this guy was like, he was Dick Van Dyke of our era. Like, we don't appreciate, we need to give him some, like, he needs the Mark Twain Award or something. Like, he's so good at everything he does.
He's so good. I don't know how ABC was able to figure out, like, I miss this era of TV. Like,
I know,
we didn't even put in like Boy Meets World.
Yes.
Step by Step, which I've actually recently like rewatched a ton of the episodes.
Kind of adult.
It is. And I remember it being kind of adult back in the day when I was younger. I was like, they're about to fuck.
Yes.
And
they're mean.
Yeah, like it's very adult. And as an adult, you're like, you know what? This holds up because this is actually, it wasn't for me when I was a kid.
Yes. And then they were going to get canceled. And then they found their Steve Urkel with Cody, who lived in the garage.
Yeah.
Like, it would just pop in. And that was the key. You had to have someone who wasn't a part of the family, who was essentially the star of the show about the family.
Yeah, that was the recipe.
It was amazing.
That's how the magic happened.
Truly. And and the best thing, this was a spinoff, this show.
Yeah.
Of Perfect Strangers.
Yep.
Harriet. It was a Harriet vehicle.
Which is an insane thing to think about.
I mean, right? And so good.
But,
I mean, just so good.
The whole thing's great. This episode in particular, because we got to stay basketball themed. Like we said, it's entitled Grandmama.
That's the title.
That's the title. Which everybody, if you're a child of 90s basketball, knows is Larry Johnson's.
Yes.
His persona, his Converse persona, and we're gonna get into Larry Johnson a lot. There's some really interesting tidbits about Grandmama.
Mm-hmm.
But the episode starts out where Steve is trying to convince Eddie to play in a 2-on-2 tournament where the winner receives Chicago Bulls season tickets.
Insane.
In 1992-93.
I mean, truly. And when he enters into the front door and goes to the kitchen, which I thought was interesting, ball in hand, and Eddie's eating the biggest sandwich you've ever seen. Like, and I was just like, yeah, you know how when you make yourself a sandwich and then you sit at the kitchen table, with nothing to read or watch.
He was just like
eating in silence.
He was like the whole day that he was at school or whatever he was doing. That the only thing on his mind was like going home to make a sandwich.
Yeah, it's like a Samsung Note 7 or something. Like it, and he's like, Steve has one friend, and it's Eddie Winslow, who lives next door.
And like, I mean, Eddie is like the worst friend ever. So
not a good friend.
So we'll talk about that. But like, Steve will take what he can get, I guess. And the fact that the proximity of where they live, I guess, is the important part of how they live their friendship out. But
truly,
can we, before we actually talk about Eddie any further, I mean, he is just an uncanny, for Zach Randolph. He looks like Zach Randolph. Like,
dude,
unbelievable.
That was the whole time I was like, that's Zebo. Yeah. Like, he looks just like him.
He looks just like him.
Darius McCree. Does he have some Randolph in it? Like, I don't think he'd be a jailblazer though. Like, he seems like Carl would have hated that.
Yeah, Carl would not have let that happen. And the B plot involves Carl.
Yes.
The B plot involves Carl, where Laura is asking to stay out an hour later on her curfew. And Harriet said midnight. Carl says, you know what? I remember being a kid. Why don't you stay out till 1? Undermines Harriet. There's a few things about this B plot that I love. One, very bold move to undermine your wife.
Very bold move. Very wants to be the hip one. Just like tell her, leave a note.
Yeah. Like don't worry about it. Yep. 2, he calls himself the Big Kahuna at one point.
Yes, he says the I think he literally says the patriarchy too.
The patriarchy.
Which I was like, whoa, a cop saying the patriarchy.
Yeah, a little.
I mean, come on.
And then where do we think that Reginald VelJohnson ranks as a TV dad?
Oh gosh, that's such a good high.
He's
He's over Greg Brady, right?
Yeah.
He's over the Beavers' dad.
Yeah, the Cleaver.
He's at least a Tanner.
Okay,
but I think he might be more because the Tanners split the dad kind of 3 ways.
Mm-hmm. And he's doing it all as far as the dad role. He's doing it by himself.
He's a step below Tim Allen.
Okay, yeah. I was I was thinking like maybe like Corey Matthews' dad, but then he's also the racist one in the Edward Norton movie.
Yes,
American History X. That knocked him down a peg for me.
He's a great dad who feels real.
He does.
But he's like the 12th character in it. Like Feeney's the dad, right? Like,
yeah.
But that is also like, but great. Like that's a dad I remember watching. And be like, that actually seems like a dad.
Yeah, he works at a grocery store. He's
he's tired like all the time.
Yeah, he's got like all these kids, and he's just like, I just want to go home and take a nap.
He has no hobbies. He doesn't like work on a car. He's just around. And I was like, yes, that's a dad. But yeah, I mean, Reginald L. Johnson, Carl Winslow he's up there, right?
Yeah, he's up there. He's in the upper echelon of TV.
Yeah.
I think. All right. So after so the B plot, it is what it is. It's a little just filler.
It's also the fact that there's only an A and B plot.
Yeah.
Amazing. That's it. That's all you need. And it's just
21 minutes of fire.
Familiar fight, wife fighting, 3 scenes. Boom.
3 scenes.
Perfect.
The makeup scene, I gotta say, the chemistry between Carl and Harriet is pretty good.
Yes,
it's pretty good. Like when they're hugging, kissing, they do the cheek, and then they go in for it. Feels real. They're really doing it there.
There's no weak link on this team.
No,
the cast is stacked.
It really is. And at this point, we're in season 5, so they've all hit their groove. They know exactly who their characters are.
Yes, we've even talked about Waldo, Geraldo, Faldo.
No, because we're about to see him when we talk about when they finally step into the street ball court.
Yep.
And they're waiting in line, and he just absolutely fucking nails it.
He's so funny.
like saying like we're last on line, but if they switch the tables, we'll be first in line. It's unbelievable.
He is truly like if Urkel didn't exist, we would have had this Waldo, Geraldo, Faldo dance and Waldo, Geraldo, Faldo doll. Like the fact they had both Urkel and this guy is like an embarrassment of riches.
It really is. They were just like, how do you write all of these guys into one episode and just give them the time that they needed?
They're unbelievable. And so they show up to sign up at the street ball court.
Yeah.
And Waldo is with that other friend.
Yeah.
Who shows up.
Weasel, I think his name's Weasel or something.
Yeah. It's another like funny sidekick name. And he's not, we like Weasel.
Yeah.
Weasel's fine. But fine. we find that the good player is this guy named
the Spider.
The Spider.
Kenny Jackson, the Spider, which is an incredible nickname because I hate spiders. They're incredibly intimidating. So I would not want to fight, play against a guy named the Spider. Eddie betrays Steve because the Spider wants to be teammates with Eddie.
And he's the best.
This was the first super team.
Wow. Yeah. He took his talents to Spider. And we get a 2010 Miami Heat parallel where Larry Johnson, I guess, gets to play, or Steve gets to play the Dirk role. Yes. Steve is, yes, I will 110% Steve is the Dirk role. They counted him out. No one did. No one thought he could do it. And then all he needed was one good year.
That's it.
One divine year, I should say. Not good. That's such a good core. I'm drinking the Kool-Aid, man.
Love it. Yeah. I mean, look, this kind of behavior was frowned upon in the 90s. It's not like it is now with the AAU mentality. I just want the easiest path to Chicago Bulls season tickets, aka a championship. That's the weak stuff that the 90s it didn't embody. And you needed somebody strong to come in, Steve. And that's where Grandmama enters. Estelle does some recruiting.
So the best part is commercial break. And then Steve Urkel enters in the Winslow house and says, Estelle, my belle, you wanted to see me? And then calls out, no one ever wants to see me here.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm trying to remember. Did she just say, I have a friend?
Yeah. I'm pretty sure that's what it was.
It wasn't like a friend's in town.
No, it was like they were at like bingo night or something.
Yeah,
something old people do.
But it makes sense. That's how good this is how a no-brainer of an episode this was. It was like, yeah, we have an old woman. She has a friend. This is her friend. Done. There. Want to go on break? let's order dinner. Like,
and Steve's like, I'm a feminist and all, but you said like girl,
yes.
and then you said at the it was the senior citizens club, because he's like, wait, did you say senior citizen? How old is she? And Estelle's like, you never ask a woman over 50 her age.
Over 50.
In classic, like, even with the big glasses, you see the eyes bulge. Just fantastic
Truly,
by everybody. And,
oh my God.
And then Grandmama enters with like a bun cake or something that he's palming.
And he goes, she goes, I'll tell Grandmama. And then like, I brought a cake.
All right. So where does Grandmama rank like in NBA nicknames?
Man, that's a question I have, because is it a nickname or is it an alter ego? Do we call Larry Johnson Grandmama?
Well, in Space Jam, when the aliens are talking about stealing the power of the players, one of the aliens goes, Larry Johnson, Grandmama. So
I take it then that if it's Space Jam did, yes.
Which Larry Johnson was killing it in the 90s with his acting roles. I mean, this and Space Jam is just
truly. But is Larry? I think this is one of the. This elevated the player. Like, he is now. This makes him something mythical. Yeah, in a weird way. Like, he would have been just like he would have been Jamal Mashburn without this. You know what I mean? Like,
he's like, he's cool. He was cool.
He would have been fine. Like Steve Smith. This is such a good. Everything about this is good. They never explain it.
No.
The first commercial doesn't really explain it. It's just that there's an old lady that lives in a shoe.
So I did like a little research about it, and like Larry Johnson was not stoked about the idea of Grandmama. Like he signed out of college. They gave him this recruiting pitch that also, like, for a commercial that was also amazing.
Yes, I know. So
do you know the story?
You say what it is, and then I will. There's two different versions of why they switched it.
Okay. So
you go.
This rumor has it, the story goes that because he signed with Converse, the initial pitch to him was that Larry Bird and Magic Johnson, who also were Converse athletes, were going to be operating on this guy to make the perfect basketball player.
Frankenstein, type thing.
Yeah, and they would argue that Larry Bird thought that he should be called Larry, Magic Johnson thought he should be called Johnson, and then kind of do like an Undertaker-esque like rise from the Frankenstein table as the perfect basketball player.
He would have the passing of Magic Johnson and the shooting of Larry. Like, they were like, it was that kind of like perfect player.
Yeah, and like mad scientist type stuff. Which honestly, I'm like, wow, that is like an unbelievable idea. Getting two legends to get in it, and then from what I read, they were just like, they audibled and they were like, actually, we're going to do this thing where we put you in a dress.
Yep.
That's what I got out of it.
So I've heard another version that I don't take it with like 4 grains of salt.
Sure.
I heard they filmed this version and it was one of the most expensive commercials ever. And it had tubes coming from the players and like, we're taking this part. And then the HIV announcement comes out. And they're like, we can't show a video of us taking blood from Magic Johnson. We can't create. It can't be this guy that comes from this person right now. Like, right. And then this was like their B pitch. Like, they had nothing. Yeah. That's how it was originally told to me. I don't know if that. And again, who knows?
You know what? That makes sense. And it almost feels, because I think like Larry Johnson's done some interviews about it, but that makes sense. Like, can he go in an interview and say that that's the reason? Like, he probably wouldn't say that was the reason.
Yeah.
Right.
Now we kind of know. It feels like borderline. It's almost like we were so ignorant, but like, you know, what are we going to do? Like, it was back then, we didn't know anything. Like, no. And I like to believe a version where they had no other choice but to be like, a grandma? Like, because I love when it's like, we don't have any other choices. And then it turns out to be, if they didn't do it, like, what a gift. Like, right. The universe was like, we got you. And what I mean, can you imagine this getting pitched now? Would any NBA player be this silly?
So, all right. So here's my thing. So Nike owns Converse.
Yes.
How on earth, and I don't know what Larry Johnson's thing is. I don't know what kind of endorsements he has now. But how have we not had a Grandmama, Uncle Drew crossover?
Yes. Yes.
Because Uncle Drew seems like the heir apparent to the Grandmama character.
So I was thinking about this. I think you're right, but there is something about him being a woman.
Oh,
that is like so much more badass.
It's like way ahead of its time.
There's this. It's something like it's like there is a confidence in like it's. I don't know why the gender matters, but like it definitely changes it from Uncle Drew. Uncle Drew's just kind of like you're trying to trick some people.
And also like Uncle Drew legitimately with makeup looks like an old person.
Yeah.
Larry Johnson just looks like Larry Johnson with a dress and like a wig on.
He's always doing stuff and like he's always talking about shaving legs and sports bras. But I agree. How have they not done something together? And how has there not been the new Grandmama?
Right. Maybe that's what they were hoping Anthony Bennett would turn out to be.
Who would be if you could cast Grandmama right now?
I think Zion.
Oh, yeah. Damn, he might be too big, but yeah, you're right. Who's someone who needs it? Like Zion doesn't need this.
Right.
Like, is it Montrezl Herald? Who like
that was literally the first name that I was thinking in my head. That was it.
Like someone where it's like a mid-tier guy who like kind of like Larry Johnson.
Yeah.
No offense.
Right.
Like, yeah, not like the guy who's going to be the face of the league. He has to dress like a old lady.
Yeah, like Zion's going to sell shoes. He doesn't need anything outside of like a commercial of him jumping really high.
He's so good. Do you think they would release these shoes again? Like, I'm shocked they haven't.
Yeah, I don't know why, especially like with like a retro craze that everyone falls into. It's I've been trying to get my hand on, granted, different company and whatnot. But I found like an amazing pair of Reebok pumps when I was in college at an outlet mall in Florida for like $30. They were like black with like a pink pump, like a hot pink pump, like the everything I loved about the 90s. And I was like, these are the best shoes ever. And now I can get them on eBay, but they're like $450.
Don't do it.
Which is
you'll be able to find them because they'll release them. It's again the pumps. Like pumps like kamikazes. The answers or the questions, the worms, like Rodman had a shoe, which is crazy to think about. It was so Grandma top tier. Him and Little Penny. I think he beats Little Penny for me.
So if you could see, how do I move my head? I got Little Penny behind me.
Whoa!
I got Little Penny behind me. I
love that.
Little Penny. I think that Grandmama and Little Penny were two of the best marketing campaigns for any basketball player ever. Maybe just in general sports.
Good advertising.
I just don't know why these companies have been so safe. It feels like they've been so safe with their with their advertisements.
Why is that?
I don't know. It seems like now is the time to go crazy and not be safe.
Who would be silly? Like that's the thing. I come back to this. Like who would allow themselves to be an old lady woman with a wig and dress? Like Kawhi wouldn't. LeBron wouldn't. LeBron tries to be like funny, but he won't be silly. Harden. I feel like Harden could do something like this. Russ could do something like this, but like
the thing is, like, so I have this theory about how you can at least decide who is going to be competing for an NBA championship and who you could eliminate right away.
Okay.
And it's whatever superstar is signed with like Adidas or basically another company, you can eliminate them right away because Adidas hasn't had a finals MVP since Tim Duncan.
Really? So they have Dame too. They have Dame right now, right?
Yeah. And I love Dame. Dame is I think Dame's my favorite player in the league.
Really? He's awesome.
On a night, I love Dame, but
he's really great.
He's an Adidas athlete. So like it's tough because it just doesn't work like that.
Who was the last Adidas MVP? Was it Rose?
Yeah. Harden. It would have to be Harden.
Oh yeah, Harden.
It'd have to be Harden. Yeah.
Wow.
So even fun. And like Nike for Finals MVPs has won something like 15 of the last 16, and the only person who didn't win the Finals MVP or who won MVP that was Kawhi with New Balance. Yep. He also won with Jordan his first Finals MVP, so he's like a halvesy.
I love it.
Yeah, that's
because he's with that was with New Balance though,
New Balance now, and he won with the Raptors with New Balance, so that was the one out of since Tim Duncan. But he won his first one with Jordan, so it was almost
that counts.
It counts.
No, I think it's Jordan's different, but I don't know. Like it.
Well, Jordan, like to me, like Jordan and Wade won in. I know that your Twitter link is
I hate Dwayne Wade.
Yeah, it's the Dwayne Wade shot 97 free throws
at the 2006 NBA Finals.com. No one had it. No, it was free. No one had it yet.
It's absolutely, that was an unbelievable basketball moment to watch in real time, knowing that that's the first time that you were like for me, it was one of the first times that I was absolutely like, life's just not fair.
I was so sad. It was like such a sad part of my life. It was like Charlie Brown and Christmas time. I was just like walking around.
But Dwayne Wade was Converse, to bring it back.
He was
Converse. So, but also part of Nike. So, if you want to,
Wade could have done something like this.
Wade could have.
This version of like Gabrielle Union, like he dyes his hair blonde type Wade, he would have done it.
Yeah. Wade, especially now, post-playing career Wade.
He's very funny right now. He's like fun and he's cool. Like he's great.
I love him. He's, I guess socially conscious now. He's doing a great job.
A great dad. Seems we stand Wade.
We stand Wade. His, you know what? I think we give him too much stuff, too much shit for his Chicago year. It wasn't ideal. It wasn't like the whole scenario wasn't ideal, but you know what? If Rondo doesn't hurt his hand in the playoffs, who knows where the franchise is at?
I did not watch a second of that season because of Rondo and Wade were at the time my two least favorite players in the whole league, and I was like, well, they come to my city, I'm out, and I boycotted it for the whole year, so I have no memory of it, and it's awesome when people talk about it.
Yeah, it was a smart move because it was such. I remember like very specifically. I believe their first game was on Halloween. I was at a Halloween party. I think they played the Pacers, and the Bulls won by like 30 or something. And I was like,
amazing.
That's it. It's going to be the championship. Write it down. Take it to the bank. And then it was just like, we finished with a 500 team.
No one can shoot.
And now we're going to get rid of Jimmy Butler. So this is.
Oh God. Hey.
But shout out Jimmy. Jimmy's the man.
You're awesome. We love Jimmy's doing it, man. Chicago was wrong. Jimmy was right.
Jimmy was right. Love it. Shout out Jimmy. Jimmy G buckets. G stands for gets. Are the basketball scenes in this episode good? From a basketball standpoint, are the basketball scenes
good? The analytics guys would hate it.
For sure.
I think, if we can get, my biggest takeaway watching the finals, I don't think we need to get to, we don't need to see, it's Steve and Grandmama, Spider and Eddie.
Yeah.
That's who we're going to see in the finals.
They
take care of business. They put in work.
Yes.
It's now the finals.
Mm-hmm.
It's unbelievable how close it is when you have Grandmama out there. You have a literal NBA player. I guess I don't know kayfabe what she is, but I think she has her own shoe. So I think she's something. The fact that it's so close is crazy, right? It's like tied.
It is crazy, and especially because Urkel is also incredible.
Yes.
He's also,
who's his comp?
I want to say this not only because I think they kind of look similar, but CJ McCollum.
Oh yes, CJ should have an Urkel shoe. How cool would that be?
If CJ did some kind of Urkel thing, that would be.
And he's silly. He makes fun of himself and stuff.
Yeah,
I love that. He reminds me of Goran Dragic. Steve Urkel does.
Okay. Yeah.
Kind of a long slasher who's like an okay shooter, but he wants to get to the bucket. He's a point guard who wants to get to the bucket.
And he'll get up a little bit.
Yeah.
Steve is doing reverse dunks. in his Converse, like he's like Bill Russell. Like you're in the 90s. You don't have to wear Converse.
You don't. You can wear Recca specs, but the basketball is very simple.
I mean, so Spider's pretty good. I wrote out a comp for him as well. I think he's got a little campaign in him.
Oh, see, I was thinking PG, but that's probably better.
Yeah, because he's a lefty. So I was like, who's a lefty who's like...
I did not notice that Spider was a lefty. That's really good.
These are the details that, after you do a bunch of these episodes that you got to search out.
That's so impressive. I love that. Wow.
Obviously, Larry Johnson, Grandmama is playing like Larry Johnson.
Yes.
Eddie is the weak link here. He looks like he's never dribbled a basketball before. Yes. I don't know how you have Urkel and Grandmama, who are both incredible, and then Spider, who's like pretty good. And then Eddie, who's not good at all. And somehow it's a tie game at the end.
And Eddie's huge. Eddie's like not that much shorter than Grandmama.
Eddie's big.
And
dude,
he should be in the post.
He should be in the post.
He's a hoss.
Like, what are you doing? And this is the 90s. Post play was encouraged.
Yeah, he can't be dribbling. It's not Eddie wins fast. Like, no. he's not that quick, man. Like, he lumbers out there.
Yeah, and like in the one-on-one, like once Urkel gets
wait, let's set the stage.
Yeah, we got to set the stage. So
okay.
So Grandmama, who is older than 50.
Yeah, she's geriatric.
We don't know her exact age.
Did not wear a sports bra.
She should have though.
Mm-hmm.
She pulls she hurt her. What was it? She
twisted her knee.
Twisted her knee.
Which I thought was like they didn't put any thought in. They put zero thought. She goes, what happened? I twisted my knee.
Yeah, like it could have been like, oh, I hurt my hip, like something
ACL or something. Yeah. It could be like an old lady thing. Like, I need some calcium chews or something. Yeah,
my back, something old. But it was like, oh, I twisted my knee. Like that could just happen to anybody playing at the park. Like that was, but
so good.
So Grandmama twists the knee, and Spider and Eddie, and the game's tied. It's 10-10.
10-10.
Spider and Eddie are like, we win. Give us our tickets. And Grandmama's like, nah, 1-on-1. You got a problem? Gets all like strong on Spider. Spider's like, and it should be Eddie versus
yes.
Urkel. And Spider's like, all right.
Respect to Grandmama, because she's like, I'm the best player. You're the best player. Let's go. Like,
we're out.
It kind of like calls Eddie out, be like, no, not you. He's the best player. 1-on-1.
Yeah.
Next point.
Yeah. Next point. That's another bold move. Not even like match.
Not even match. Sudden death. Eddie has the ball, right?
Yeah. Eddie has the ball. And
how did he lose this?
And this is where he should have been in the post. But instead,
he's Urkel.
Throws up jump. And Urkel like is supposed to be like the scrawny, like.
Yes, it's not. Stefan is not in the universe yet.
Not yet.
Bruce Lee, not in the universe.
Oh, amazing.
Like, it's just Steve.
What an incredible show. It's just Steve. Take him in the post. You get a nice, easy layup. Drop, left shoulder, off the glass, over. But instead, misses. And now he's on an island with Steve, who's got like a handle and is shifty. And then it was over.
He drives. I thought he was going to pull up, but he drives. He skies. Camera close up, and he dunks. So we don't see his feet.
No.
And then the greatest. This is how you know he's like truly a great comedic actor. The slow turn and like the look he gives with his eyes, like he takes his time. Like wrestling, he did it slow. Like he did exactly. The farthest person in the Tokyo Dome would have seen that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like anyone at Rosemont would have seen that in any seat. He just does the look, and it's like you baby face, like unbelievable.
It was an unbelievable performance. I don't know if I don't think it won an Emmy, but it should have.
He should have if he did it. What's TV for?
Right.
If The Undertaker doesn't win one for playing a character for 25 years, then why do we have these awards? Like
it doesn't make any.
Give him something. And then they lift him up.
Everyone's stoked.
They go nuts, and they lift up Steve, and then some people have to lift up Grandmama, which is like, what waivers did they sign? Like, what union did that? I want to know.
There's no way that they informed anybody involved with Grandmama Larry Johnson.
You go 120 pounds, 240.
This was a bunch of what was it, Second City actors improv.
Truly, it was. It really was. It was just guys on the Torco going, I don't know what I'm going to do, and like stoked. Yeah, I got to lift this guy. And the best when Grandma gets lifted up, she stays in character.
Mm-hmm.
Did you notice? And she pulls her dress down to be modest. And I was like, Larry Johnson is
it should be Emmy worthy performance all around. The one thing that this episode doesn't have enough of, because of the setting, 92, 93 Chicago, I'm not seeing a lot of Jordans out on the court.
None.
I don't know I know Jordan always has weird contractual things, but you figure like the shoes should be fair game, right?
Or logos, or like you can say Chicago Bulls, like they said it.
Yeah. Very clearly the Jordan Bulls that everybody
truly like, but maybe they were being so weird about it. Oh, have we gotten to the end yet though?
No,
the very end. Steve and Eddie make up.
They do. They reconcile their differences.
And I thought this was a great moment. And he gives the other ticket to Eddie because Grandmama
is actually she loves the Hornets.
She's a Charlotte Hornets fan.
She doesn't like the Bulls. She loves the Hornets.
She didn't like the Bulls. She likes Charlotte Hornets. And it was like,
so Jaleel White actually wrote the episode.
What?
Yeah. He wrote 2 episodes on the show, and this was the first episode he wrote.
How old was he?
I don't know. Like, this is at the point where he's clearly growing into his body a little bit. Like, you're starting to see him cut up a little bit. So he's getting a little bit older, but he's still like, he's got to be young. He's still got to be young at this point. Because like you said, we still haven't seen like Stefan and all,
There are some like really good, like classic comedy bits in this. Like, when
really
he takes the sandwich and he's like gesturing with Eddie's sandwich and the meat goes everywhere. The Laura grounding herself so her parents make up and don't fight anymore. Like, there's some like really smart, just like, that's good. Jaleel,
you did it, man. You did it. And it's this came out in like 92, 93-ish. So we're in 2020. So around 30 years later, you're finally getting your just due. We're giving you your flowers now while you're here to listen to it.
This was his first. I mean, he probably got in the Writers Guild as a result. Like, this was his way in. What a fantastic! Good for you, Jaleel. Like, you should. We did not appreciate you as a culture as much as we should.
We should, and we didn't. And like, so I'm from Long Island. I spent a good amount of time throughout my life in Brooklyn, and literally like every fucking person from Williamsburg dresses unironically like Steve Urkel now,
right?
And like has for years.
The original hipster icon.
Like the impact on the culture that Steve had is unbelievable.
Move over, AI. Like this, he was there.
He was there.
And the basketball, I mean, it was just dunks, right?
It's dunks a little bit. You had a little bit. There's a lot of off the backboard, which was a big thing in the night.
And frankly, I missed that. I wish there was more. I think there's more off the backboard now.
Agreed. That anytime Tim Duncan on the mid post, off the glass, kiss off the glass, it was money every time.
Tracy McGrady, he made it. He made it. Like, that was his move. It was Family Matters delivered. If you have a Hulu subscription, you should watch this. If you have 22 minutes, it's worth it.
Family Matters is one of the shows, because like I said, like I've gone back and watched step by step a little, like on Hulu. Family Matters is one of the shows I got in my queue. Like, you know what? I'm just gonna it's a good show that you could just bang out as like background noise, where you don't have to fully immerse yourself into it. If you miss a scene, it's fine.
There's 2 plots. You're fine.
But like, I legitimately left this episode like, oh my God, the show Like, it's amazing. It's way better than I remember the last time watching it, and I'm going to actually go through and watch it now.
Yes, it stands up in a way that, like, for what it is, and you're like, oh, this innocent type of comedy is probably harder to do now. Like, this is a level of difficulty where they're not just going to be like meta or like self-aware or ironic. Like, they're being earnest. Sitcoms are so hard to do.
No,
and it's really great.
I think there's a market if they wrote a good script, developed good characters, and they kind of did like, you know what, we're going to make it look as 90s as we possibly can. And
I agree.
90s, like memorable theme song, which was like a staple of every, like, gang vocals.
Oh my God.
You know, I think there's a market for like Netflix, Hulu, Amazon, whatever, to like pick up and just bang out like 10 episodes, 22 minutes, and just like own the, you know, Twitter for like a weekend. Yes,
I think you totally could. And like, that guy wrote Full House, Family Matters, Step by Step, all same dude. Jesse Fredericks, I think, is the composer's name, and he's like my Searching for Sugar Man. Like, I love him. There's a sitcom called Going Places that has a great theme song that he wrote that was with Heather Locklear.
Oh yeah,
and it was like 2 seasons. Holland Taylor's in it. Stacey Keene. It's great. Did not work, but the theme song is like his magnum opus, and it sucks that it didn't get there because the song was too good for the show. But he's great, and I agree. There's a market for this, and I think there's a market for more Grandmama type advertising, like
100%.
Lil Penny.
Get creative. You know, Nike, Adidas is the one I think who really needs to do it, because Adidas, I feel like it's so, like, Nike can get by because they have every like big major star.
Yeah, it's
their marketing is amazing. Like, all their like black and white commercials, like even like those commercials,
their art,
well written. Their art. Adidas needs like we need a character. We need somebody to push this. You know, and you know what? I feel like Dame would be willing to do something silly.
Yes, I think so too.
And Dame should be the guy who is the face of Adidas. You know, Harden, his personality is just, it's like very bland, whatever. Like, Dame has personality. There's something there. Dame, he deserves to be even more famous than he is. I love Dame. Let's make Dame some kind of funny character with like a really good marketing, you know, thing behind him.
And to bring it full circle, he has there's the Stone Cold Steve Austin Dame shoes that he has. And so he could do that. Like, I mean, Chris Rock's around.
Right?
Lil Penny can be Lil Dame, or or Lil Mamba, or Lil Jonathan Isaac. Like, give me someone. Give me Lil Booker, Devin Booker. Like, give me someone.
Somebody could take the mantle. It's there for the taking. We're available for consulting. If any execs are out there watching, listening.
Basketball is silly. Be silly.
We're available. We'll First 15 minutes are free, and then
then we charge. Not that much. We're just happy to be in the room with you.
Awesome, man.
This was a blast, my man. Thank you.
Do you have any final thoughts? I feel like we covered, you know, everything that we needed to cover.
I think silly basketball is that's what makes basketball fun.
Yeah.
Space Jam. It's not serious. It's not the gridiron. You know, it's not the pastime. It's not a religion. It is a circus, and let's remind ourselves of that. It's supposed to be fun.
Yes, it is. Dude, John, thank you for doing this.
Thank you, man.
Amazing. I had a great time.
Me too.
Have to come back.
I would love to. I'd be honored.
We'll figure out something, another episode to do that's really fun and silly. Because there are some incredibly silly basketball films.
Truly.
Truly. Guys, girls, everybody else, this is it for another episode of Nothing But Netflix. We're going to be back next week with who knows what movie, documentary, TV show. Who knows? I haven't decided yet, but we'll be back. So if you're watching, make sure you like, subscribe. If you're listening on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, you know, leave a review, subscribe, share it out, all of that shit. I appreciate everybody watching, listening. And until next time, guys, girls, everybody else, peace.